I'm a social worker, so let's say I have a client that is an elderly woman. She's 98 years old. She's been in the hospital, needs a lot of support. She's ready to get out, and as her social worker, I have to make sure her placement goes well and it's transitioned well. Well, I find out at her home, it's not a very good home. She doesn't have any food in the refrigerator. It's kind of run down. She has osteoarthritis, so she can't get around very well. So what I do for her is I find some funding and I refurbish her house. We have a nice couch that she can sit in and a big screen TV so she can watch TV, and because she's lonely and doesn't have a whole lot of activities, I stock her refrigerator with chocolate cake and sausage and all this food that's going to help her gain her weight back, and I get her a little scooter because she can't get around, and that would be very helpful. So, you know, doing all that, that sounds really good, and I think we would probably agree that that would be pretty helpful for a 98-year-old lady that had some problems. Now let's say I have another client, but this is a middle-aged gentleman who is overweight, and because of his overweightness, he has diabetes and he has high blood pressure. So I'm thinking, well, you know, what I did for the 98-year-old lady, that worked really well. So I think I'll do the same thing for this gentleman. So I buy him a real comfortable couch and give him a big screen TV, and I stock his refrigerator with chocolate cake and sausages, and I get him a scooter because he's overweight. He can't get around very much, and but in this case, that's not going to be very helpful to this person because he's overweight, and because of the overweightness, he has all these other problems. So we have to realize that not all help is created equal. And we have to be able to help people in a way that is helping. And we need to be aware that sometimes the way that we help is destructive, and that is called enabling, a destructive form of helping. And that's when we rescue people from their responsibilities, when we take care of people's responsibilities for them. Other ways that constitute rescuing is doing something for someone although that person is capable of or should be doing it for him or herself. If we're doing the people's thinking for them, if we're speaking for them, if we're suffering their consequences, if we're solving problems for this person, this is all rescuing. This is not helping. This is actually just feeds into the disorder. If we are working harder than they are, it's a very important thing that we stop and look at what we're doing and look at what our client is doing and ask ourselves, am I rescuing him? Am I doing things that he should be responsible for? Because with this disorder, we must remember there's not a lot of planning, there's not a lot of responsibility, and things like that. So helping in a helpful way is very important. Now, as a mentor, what is ways that are helpful? Accepting the person, being willing to accept differences, expectations, realizing that the people we work with will have different value systems, and be willing to listen to those, maybe not agree with them, but not be judgmental. Another thing is to be emotionally open, and that is to have a good understanding of yourself to begin with and be able to express emotions in an appropriate way. Two techniques to do that. One is called iMessages. And iMessages is when there is a problem and you need to tell somebody what the problem is. And a good way to do this is this formula. It says, when you, I feel, because, and so. So an example of this is if my husband would come home late from work and I get all mad because now it's late and the kids are tired and I'm upset and the kids are upset and he's upset, and we're not going to get much accomplished if I just yell at him. But if I say something like, when you come home late for work, I feel angry because the kids are real hungry and they're cranky. So I would appreciate if you were going to be late again to give me a call and just let me know, and then we can make some other arrangements. Another a technique that is real useful is called parroting or mirroring speaker-listener. And a good example of this is what I want you to do is think of one of your favorite drive-through restaurants that you like to go to. And once you've thought of that, I want you to think of what you would like to order from there. So let's just pretend I go through a drive-through, I press the button and I say, I would like a hamburger with extra lettuce and no ketchup and 2 orders of French fries and then a milkshake, a chocolate milkshake. And then what's the next thing that happens? Well, usually that person on the other side repeats back what the order is. And the reason to do that is to make sure that we've got the order right. Now, it's not going to do me any good if he tells me what the cost of my order is if he has down 2 hamburgers instead of 1. So this is the same thing when we talk to people. It's very important to listen to what they say and then repeat back what they have said to us so we know for sure what we are hearing is what they're saying. And if we don't do that, sometimes we hear things wrong and we try to solve a problem and actually we're not even on the same page. We don't even have our order right. So repeating back what somebody says to you is a good way to make sure that you know what they're saying, and that way they also know that you're being listened to. It's kind of hard to do, but it's a really good skill to know. So it's important to talk and to listen and to make sure we understand where that person's coming from. Another quality of a good mentor is to be empathetic, to understand versus knowing what that person feels. You know, I know what you feel. We don't know what somebody feels. We really don't. We can try to understand where they are and see their point of view, but empathy is to say, I understand. I don't know, but I understand. Another important part of being a mentor is to encourage people. This is a very good way to build rapport, highlight positive things, the interaction, look for the strength. Encouraging is a big part of what mentors do. Also, helping to motivate others. We have to be motivated to help people, a willingness to give our time, our energy, and to be able to be willing to follow through. Being non-judgmental is very important. Not to act as an expert, but to be a guide and a resource. The purpose as a mentor is to walk beside somebody, to help them build skills, to problem solve, to show them their strengths they have as the individual, as opposed to solving the problems for them and rescuing them, is to help them see the problems, help them work through the problems, help them guide in the direction that they need to go. We need to be sincere, truly vested, and genuinely care in the person's well-being. There needs to be a sense of warmth, the ability to convey this personal warmth, kindness, non-judgmental, being emotionally safe. The person knows they can say something to you and that you aren't going to become angry at them or explode or withdraw from them. And this is possibly one of the most important parts of the mentoring relationship, is that warmth, that caring that we have towards the other person. And a willingness to disclose is very important. However, we have to be careful about this. We can disclose things about ourselves, but it needs to be within appropriate boundaries. If we share our own experiences, positive and negative, that's okay. But we need to be able to realize our motivations while we're sharing. Are we sharing this because I'm angry, I want to vent, I want to get some, some sympathy from somebody, or am I sharing this because I believe this is an experience that might be helpful to this person, and maybe he can learn from what mistakes I have made in the past. So when we do self-disclose, we need to make sure we're not doing it for our own personal therapy or using it as a venting session. Mentors are models. We show positive ways to do things. We're not meddlers. We're not there to meddle in the person's life. Mentors are for encouraging the person. We're not experts about everything. We're there to help them, to encourage them. Mentors normalize life and experiences. We're not novelists. We have life experiences. We've done things good. We've done things that we could have done better. So we can help normalize some situations maybe that the clients are going through. Mentors need to be themselves. They're not therapists. The mentors are observers. They listen to what the person is saying and then not to overreact to what's going on. Mentors need to be resourceful. They need to be supportive. They need to be guidance for these people, not rescuers, not thinking for them, not solving problems, but being resources and helping them navigate through their own situations. Mentors, if you look at mentoring versus counseling, mentors focus on the current and future possibilities. We're talking about the here and forward. Counselors deal with past history. We don't want to go there. We're not counselors. Mentors use the practical, proactive approach. What can we do? What can we do now? Let's think about cause and effect, as opposed to counseling that they work in regards to more in-depth things, the cycle approach, and we're talking about what can we do to solve problems now. Mentoring asks what and how, whereas counseling talks about why. Mentoring also works on what the person wants and what their dreams are. Counseling provides help for problems and issues that they're working on, and that's not what we're going for. Mentoring also works on helping empower the person to help them achieve their goals. The purpose of counseling, which we aren't doing, is to relieve pain and symptoms and restore functioning so the person can pursue their own goals. We're talking once again about support and guidance and empowering. Mentoring is big on encouragement and support. Counseling has encouragement and support also, but you have a licensed expert that is doing that. Mentoring is a lot about teaching skills, thinking about the future, thinking about how to handle situations. Counseling deals with complex personal and relationship dynamics, and that's not what we do in mentoring. So, in summary, people with antisocial personality disorder, we're looking at someone that has a lifelong pattern and habits that would take a lot of change, and change is very hard. Change is difficult, and we can't change somebody. We can help somebody. The truth is the only person we can change is ourselves. And if we try to change somebody, we're going to become upset, angry, and disappointed. So we need to remember that we're trying to help, not change. And there's helpful ways to help people. We need to be careful about rescuing and that enabling piece. That's not going to be helpful. We need to do things like support and guidance and empathy and teaching them skills like how to be good listeners and how to be able to say our problems in ways that people can listen to it. I want to thank you for your time and hope you the best of luck with your endeavors. Thank you very much.